Denver, Colorado, at over 30,000 expected this afternoon as the Colorado Rockies play host to the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome into Fox Saturday Baseball. Dan McLaughlin with you. You'll hear from my partner George Frazier in just a moment. Last night, a 10-3 loss for the Rockies. They now have dropped 4 straight. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Cardinals going in a different direction. 5-2 on their current 10-game road trip. And George, this team has been one of the surprises of baseball. The Cardinals led by Lance Berkman.
Well, that's a big surprise, Berkman, and what he's accomplished after he got out of the Houston Astro uniform when they didn't win games, went to the Yankees, came to a winning organization, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the numbers reflect that, leading the league in hitting 11 home runs, 36 RBIs, and a year ago, dismal. On the flip side of that, you look at Todd Helton of the Colorado Rockies. Last year, battled a tremendous amount of injuries, back, legs, didn't have the strength, and it showed with the RBIs and home runs, and what a difference 2011 has been for Todd Helton.
2 of the best sluggers on display today. It's Fox Saturday Baseball. Albert Pujols, Troy Tulowitzki. Baseball is next. Debut for Juan Nicasio.
Yeah, it is. It's hard throwing young right-handers coming out of Double-A making this start today because of the injury to De La Rosa. 9 starts with Double-A this year, 5-1, 222 earned run average. Fastball will run up to 99. It's touched 100 miles an hour. Very good fastball command.
Ryan Theriot, the leadoff man for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals come in 10 games above 500 at 31-21. And Colorado is 24-26, 4 games back in the National League West. As Theriot slices this into right, drops in for a base hit, and the leadoff man is aboard for St. Louis. The starting lineup is brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. This is how it reads for Tony La Russa, Theriot, John Jay, and then Albert Pujols. Lance Berkman, what a year he's had. Colby Rasmus, Skip Schumacher, the catcher Yadier Molina, Daniel Descalso, and Jaime Garcia. Here's John Jay. Very good road trip for St. Louis. Could play right, center, or left field for Tony La Russa. And George, as we've seen with Tony, he loves those interchangeable parts.
Well, I think you see a lot of that with Schumacher, other guys, Craig, that can play the outfield and the infield. It's all about playing hitter for Tony La Russa, and the most active and productive lineup he can put on the field.
Jay is in that envious spot in baseball, hitting in front of one of the great sluggers in Albert Pujols.
Well, it's nice because Tony's not afraid to put things in motion, meaning he'll put a starter into motion or a runner in motion at first base, open up holes. He'll do it with Pujols at the plate. He'll do it with Jay at the plate. And again, you're going to see a lot of fastballs with Albert behind you.
1 ball, 1 strike on John Jay. 13 hits on this 10-game road trip for St. Louis. Taps that one foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. As you mentioned, George, this is a young right-hander. Last year at High A, Modesto led the Cal League in innings, strikeouts, and wins, and he can bring it.
63 strikeouts in Double-A, just 10 walks so far. So the command is there, which is kind of unusual with a guy with that type of velocity.
1 ball and 2 strikes on John Jay, Cardinal left fielder tonight. Jay off the glove of the pitcher. Tulowitzki steps on the bag. It's a double play. That's now 52 double plays turned by the Rockies, most in the National League. Gonzalez, a Gold Glover from a year ago in left, Fowler in center, Spilborghs in right. Ty Wigginton, Troy Tulowitzki, Eric Young, and Todd Helton along the infield. And Nicasio and Iannetta, the battery today.
Conversations with Jim Tracy today. One thing he pointed out, hopes this young man, Juan Nicasio, could give their ball club a spark that they need so badly right now with the slump they're in.
Greg Reynolds was originally scheduled to make this start, but threw 3 2/3 of relief after the injury to De La Rosa, is now facing Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, a big loss to the Rockies too. This left-hander turned it around since coming over from Kansas City.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Albert Pujols. Pujols now in his 11th season with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the numbers down this year at 265, 8 home runs. He's driven in 28.
Interesting. Yesterday, when I was handed a stat that his 8 home runs right now are the same amount he had a year ago, when everybody said numbers down, but it's average. It's RBIs that are down, not so much the home run number.
Pujols with 2 RBIs last night, and he takes ball 4, 2-out walk, and it brings in Lance Berkman.
Well, there's a reason Troy Tulowitzki has a Gold Glove on his mantle. It's the reaction he has off of the glove of Nicasio to redirect a 6'4", 220-pound body, and then just show off that rocket arm that he has. It's interesting, Dan, because on the mound he's 96 miles an hour, but you like his bat and his defense in the field, not on the bump.
Amazing that he came out of high school undrafted.
Yeah, undrafted player out of high school, Long Beach State, a #1 pick by the Rockies.
And out of Rice University, here's Lance Berkman. The switch hitter leads the National League in average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage, and no one in baseball saw this coming.
I don't think I did. I thought he was going to be more of a platoon player. Interesting note, in a conversation with Matt Holliday when he talked to Berkman in the offseason, he was in 100% shape, thought his knee was back, that he could play any position, and sold that to the St. Louis Cardinals.
And there's a base hit to right for Lance Berkman. As Pujols will stop at second base. It's runners at first and second with 2 down, and it brings in Colby Rasmus.
Well, out of the stretch, the Cardinals have stole 28 bases against right-handers this year. It's a little bit of a long arm delivery, but the ball out over the center of the plate, and regardless of how hard you throw, guys like Pujols, Berkman, Helton, they're going to let you know when you make a mistake with a fastball.
Colby Rasmus, 4 hits in game 1 of this series. 2 triples last night, 3 RBIs. He was in a 1-for-25 streak. Average went from 311 to 273, and it jumps back up to 287. He's second in triples in the National League. Mid-time called. Our home plate umpire, the crew chief, Kerwin Danley. Vic Carapazza at first, Paul Neward at second, and Doug Eddings over at third. First pitch to Colby Rasmus. He is taken for a ball.
Now, I watch him play the game. He plays with an edge for me. It's kind of like a chip on his shoulder. An entertaining player to watch in the outfield and at the plate. And a guy, Dan, for me, he looks like he loves putting a uniform on and playing the game. I was watching him last night through 9 innings, and this was a young man just having fun at the ball yard.
1-0 pitch. Taking a little high. 2 balls and no strikes. Skip Schumacher on deck. Tony La Russa loaded this lineup up with those lefties.
Well, there's a reason for that. With a young right-hander on the mound, I call it double deck syndrome. Going to walk out, there's 2 decks, there's not just 1 deck, there's a whole lot of people and 4 umpires, and where am I? Well, I'm going to make the job even tougher. I'm going to stack as many left-handers as I can against you and see how you handle it.
Biggest adjustment that he has to make coming to the major league level.
Deep breath, relax, that the game is still 60 feet 6 inches, it's still a round ball, they have a wood bat, it doesn't change. They're a little bit better, obviously it's the big leagues. But I think you deal with that through your pitching coach, Bob Apodaca, who has related very well with a lot of young pitchers here. Ubaldo Jimenez, Chacin, Ismael Rogers, of Latin players that have come up and been successful. And Bob's been a big, huge part of that.
Yeah, he's been here for 9 years. On the other side, Dave Duncan, 17 years in St. Louis. And this pitch is skied into shallow left. Tulowitzki on the outfield grass puts it away. The Cardinals will strand 2. Now he can take that deep breath. We got the first 3 outs. Rockies coming up in their half of the first. Colorado Rockies, it's been a struggle this year offensively. 13th in the league at .239 with their average. Young, Fowler, Gonzalez here in the first, then Tulowitzki, Helton, and Wigginton, Spilborghs, Ionetta, and then Nicasio. Young lefty Jaime Garcia gets the start for St. Louis.
4-pitch mix, fastball that'll cut and sink away from right-handed hitters. 5-0 overall record. Will utilize his changeup, particularly to the right-handed bats, and Jim Tracy has stacked the top with 2 youngsters, 2 speedsters, and Young and Fowler.
Garcia, perfect so far this season at 5-0 and a 1.93 ERA, which is in the top 3 of the National League. Eric Young Jr. just called up yesterday by Colorado, second baseman and outfielder. And George, we've seen it, great speed.
Tremendous speed, just like his father, Eric Young Sr., a base stealer with 17 of 18 in stolen bases at the AAA level.
Last night he was in center, today at second base, off the glove of Garcia, and Terrio can't come up with it. If it's an error, that'll be number 11 on Ryan Terrio. The Cardinals 36 errors this year, 4th most coming into play today in the National League. See that battery with Garcia and Molina. Yadier Molina with 3 Gold Gloves now in his career and one of the best in baseball.
Well, on a ball deflected by the pitcher, you've got to track and really concentrate. You recognize the speed of Young, so maybe that created a little bit of his hurried response to the baseball coming right to him.
Here's Dexter Fowler. Lines it foul.
Now Dexter this year against left-handed pitching has struggled at times, and that's something they need to have corrected because he's led off most of the year. But his strikeouts are what really jump out at you. 10 strikeouts so far in 46 plate appearances against right-handed bats, where he's hit just 217.
A total of 57 strikeouts this year, and you just cannot have that at the top of your lineup.
Well, that's why EY's here now. Eric Young Jr. is here leading off. Started last night in center field, today at second base.
We thought it might be ruled in Air Ontario. It's a base hit for Eric Young Jr. No balls and 2 strikes on Fowler. Carlos Gonzalez on deck.
Molina, through his career, has thrown out 46% of base stealers. This year, 32%, but that's not all on him. Pitchers have a responsibility to hold runners on.
He's picked off 3 this year. He's one of the best in baseball at doing that. 0-2 pitch here by Jaime Garcia after a long look, and time is called.
You know, holding the baseball can disturb the rhythm of a base runner, as well as throwing over, step over, throw over. So many different avenues, particularly being left-handed.
Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan will call that from the dugout. As a pitcher, and you're a former pitcher, would that bother you? Would you rather be the one calling the shots?
Personally, for me, I would rather be the guy to call my own shot. If I want to throw over, I'll throw over. Step off, I think it's because of a veteran pitcher. You should have the knowledge of how to handle that situation more so. But then on the flip side, I understand Tony and Dave's ideas and thought process behind it. We're going to take that element of the game out of your thought process. You won't have to do it. We'll do it for you.
Tony La Russa, the all-time winningest manager in Cardinals history. The 0-2 pitch taken for a ball, up and away.
Now looking on the delivery of Garcia, see how far the arm comes back around it in his arm when it goes around, and I think that's something that allows him to bow the chest and get really out front and get the breaking ball down in his changeup. Of course, there's always that concern at times of whether it would do further damage. I mean, he is probably the one guy in baseball that since John Smoltz with the Tommy John surgery to come back and do what he's been able to accomplish.
4 of the 5 starters for the Cardinals have had Tommy John surgery, and they're missing one of the best in baseball who just underwent that in Adam Wainwright.
So you're saying you got a pretty good track record?
Yes.
For success of guys that have Tommy John?
And if you're a Rockies fan, you're thinking, well, can De La Rosa come back? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think he will come back from it and be fine. He's a very diligent worker.
Check on the runner, EY Jr. at first.
And it's difficult for Rockies hitters and base runners because they only see the Cardinals. 3 games here, 3 in St. Louis, sometimes 4, but it's a minimum amount of games. So to get true reads on left-handers and their pickoff, they're very good pickoff. They're a pickoff.
Good jump. Chance for Molina. No. Stolen base for Eric Young Jr. There's a great example of his tremendous speed.
Well, he got a read off of Garcia, and again, you have so much ability to go in and watch video to see their move to first base, and when the leg came up, he took off immediately. It was a great exchange by Molina, a little offline, but they wouldn't have had Eric Young anyway. And you can't go to sleep with Young at second. He will steal third base, particularly with a right-handed batter.
Full count on Dexter Fowler. Outfield is straight away for St. Louis. Trying to shoot it to the right side, advance the runner, and hits it out of play.
Well, now you have to give yourself up as a hitter and think of nothing but pushing the ball to the right side to advance Young to third base. You'd love to have Gonzalez, who leads the team in RBIs, coming to the plate with an opportunity to drive in a run with a fly ball.
Just got a piece again. Three and 2 the count on Fowler. The Cardinals in the top of the first, stranded 2. Hit out of play again. Very productive at bat and making Garcia work here in the first by Dexter Fowler. Another 3-2 pitch taken low. First two have reached for the Rockies. Time for a DirecTV game break. Let's go to Chris Rose and Mitch Williams in L.A. All right, guys, thank you. And Milwaukee now picks up their 28th win. San Francisco drops to 28-23. And don't look now, here comes Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona playing well under Kirk Gibson. The revamped staff that he has there. Charles Nagy handling the pitching. Don Baylor, the hitting.
Hit to the right side, base hit past Albert Pujols. A run will score easily. Berkman fires into third. That's offline. And Carlos Gonzalez winds up at second base. It's 1-0 Colorado.
Speed has paid off early for the Colorado Rockies. A stolen base put EY into scoring position for Carlos Gonzalez, and with the throw into third base, and Gonzalez utilizes his speed to get into scoring position. Now you have second and third. Trying to get ahead with a fastball, mislocation. Trying to go down and away. The ball caught the middle of the plate. The line drive base hit to right field by Gonzalez, out of the reach of Pujols. And then around third, here comes Eric Young for the first run of the game for the Colorado Rockies.
Garcia has been a much different pitcher on the road, ERA-wise, as opposed to what he's done at home. His ERA away from St. Louis, 3.41. And at home, 0.29.
Yeah, amazing there at home, 0.29. That time the signal's a little crossed up. See Molina thinking it's going to be an opposite pitch of that, a fastball, and then he gets the curveball. If you don't have a gold glove, folks, in your Molina, you don't catch that baseball.
1-0 pitch to Troy Tulowitzki. 2 balls and no strikes. He is a baseball junkie when you talk about this guy, Troy Tulowitzki.
Struggling at the plate, comes in for 2 hours of early batting practice with his team. Bad game, he stays late. He and Matt Holliday may be the 2 guys in baseball.
And a slow grounder left side. Maybe a base hit to Scalzo. Not in time. A run scores to make it 2-0. Infield hit for Troy Tulowitzki, and an RBI, is 31st. Let's take a look at our 4 keys to the game.
Well, obviously for me it's Garcia and his pitching at Coors Field. Would he be able to handle this? And so far the numbers: 3 hits, 2 runs early in this ball game. And of course for the Rockies it has to be Nicasio, and whether he can handle that third deck we talked about. The first inning, some base hits, a double play, a walk. He walked out of there without giving up a run, and Jim Tracy has to be pleased now. It's the equation he put out there today: speed at the top, will supply pressure, and get some ducks on the pond, if you want to use a baseball phrase, for our RBI guys. Talking about Tulowitzki and Gonzalez, and it's paid off.
Jim Tracy, the 2009 National League Manager of the Year. As we talked about in the Open, the Rockies have lost 4 straight and 18 of 25. In that time, George, batting just .240. So trying anything to get the offense going.
He has to, and I think that's something that won't fall asleep here either with Gonzalez and Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki double-digit steals, and a year ago so did Gonzalez with very good speed.
So Todd Helton with runners at first and second. Is it an issue that he's finally healthy and that's why the numbers are back?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a year ago, it's because of the lower back problems. He had difficulty with leg strength, so it was more of an upper body swing. There was no drive to the baseball. And this year, you've seen power from Todd Helton to the opposite field and into the seats.
Second time on this trip for St. Louis that the opposing team has scored first. Kansas City, the other team, and that was the last time we saw Jaime Garcia make a start. 3 runs in 5 innings against the Kansas City Royals. He hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in any start this year.
That's amazing. You talk about keeping your ball club in every game you take the mound.
A count of 1 ball, 1 strike on Todd Helton. Big gap in right center for Todd Helton. Still nobody out. And that misses on the outside corner. We've got two of the best first basemen over the last decade in this game.
Boy, have you ever. Look at those averages, the comparisons of home runs, RBIs. And again, this is two first basemen that have not only been great baseball players, but just tremendous people for the game of baseball.
Helton looks at his strike. George, you've been around this Rockies organization a long time. How will those numbers be viewed by the writers and looking and trying to get to the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because his road numbers are off the charts. 292, 140 RBI, 140 home runs, and about 400 RBI. So he's hit away from this ballpark.
And he hits again here today. Base hit into right field. They'll hold up the runner at third, and the bases will be loaded. 5 straight have reached against Garcia here in the first inning.
One thing that Todd Helton has to do to get his hands in a position to load and hit is the leg kick and the foot down. If that foot is not down when the hands start to move, Todd Helton doesn't get through the baseball. It gets by him. But this base hit to right field. A little indecision by Gonzalez. Berkman got to the ball in a hurry. Play it safe. Nobody out. Bases loaded.
5 of the last 7 hits for Ty Wigginton have gone for extra bases. Been with the Mets, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, and now the Colorado Rockies.
And very excited to wear a Rockies uniform because now he feels it's an opportunity. And not a knock to Tampa, not a knock to Baltimore, but those teams at the time he was there were on the downside trying to come up. And he felt this team, when he came here, that it was excited because he'd have the opportunity to play in October.
Garcia again behind in the count. 1 ball, no strikes. Bases loaded, nobody out. Already a 2-0 lead for the Rockies.
Surprising this success for the Rockies a little bit on against Garcia. Right-handers had only hit .221 and 190 at bats, just 42 hits. And early on, the Rockies with 4 hits and 2 runs and the bases loaded.
Opponents overall only hitting .225 against this lefty, who normally has very good command and tremendous late movement on his pitches. Haven't necessarily seen that here today.
Part of the reason I think when you come into Coors Field, you try to overthrow the breaking ball to create a break. And you've got to do just the opposite to make sure your hand's on top of the baseball, not under the baseball. Same thing with the changeup and fastball. You try to power it through, even though you're at altitude, you try to power it through there, and that's when you get hurt.
On 3-0, it's a strike. Cardinals 7-3. The 10 starts that Garcia's made this year. All 3 losses have been walk-off wins for the opposition. 3-2. Bases loaded with Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and Helton on the bases. Pretty good talent out there.
A lot of talent, speed at second and third.
The 3-2 pitch. He got it. From 3-0, it's a strikeout for Jaime Garcia in the first out recorded.
Now, very deceptive delivery, and a result comes out of this. See him up on top of that baseball. We talked about fastball movement. You see part of it here, that late cut and sink on the baseball, which is very difficult to do, but this left-hander accomplished it against Wigginton.
Here's Ryan Spilborghs. Hitting .325 in May, and all of a sudden Garcia looks like he's found that release point.
Very easy with the breaking ball, not trying to overpower. Velocity in the low 70s versus trying to put it into the high 70s. I think too, early in a ball game, you want to establish a fastball, and when you had some base hits off of it, he got hurt by it, then you can maybe go back the other way and pitch a little backwards.
George, let's talk a little bit about the outfield arms. What do you like about St. Louis?
Well, you love left field with Jay. I like it in center field with Rasmus. You got a guy in right field, and Berkman. It's a first baseman, below average, doesn't run well because he's been a first baseman for so long. He's playing right field because they have a first baseman for the Cardinals. He's pretty good in Pujols. but they like the other position he plays very well, and that's hitter.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Center and left, their routes on balls, the breaks on balls, very good. You see the line drives, they get in on the baseball in a hurry.
A 1-2 pitch, the check swing. And this is a ballpark, Coors Field, where in center you have to be able to have a guy that can run and get it.
Well, I call it the Ponderosa. If you go back to Bonanza and thinking about it, looking out into that big pasture outside the house, that's kind of what this is. It's the Ponderosa of baseball in right center and left center. Now they're going to add a ball to it because they felt like he was on the rubber when he went to his mouth. Second base umpire Paul Nauert.
Explain that rule.
Well, you can't be touching the rubber at all. You can be on the dirt and go to your mouth, but you must wipe it off. But you cannot go and be in touch or contact with the rubber and go to your mouth without wiping it off. And Tony La Russa wants an explanation.
But sometimes, depending on the weather, that will change the rule and how it is affected in a game.
Yeah, tonight's temperature, I mean, it's a nice night at Coors Field, but it's a little bit cool, and so sometimes you allow them to blow into their hands, but you're not to have contact with the rubber. And that's what Paul Nauert saw. Again, Rafael Betancourt of the Colorado Rockies had it 3 different times called on him and won it back. So he's got to be contact, and there's nothing wrong with doing what he did right there. But he didn't wipe off. What he did do, he went to his mouth without wiping off and went straight to the baseball. You can't do that.
So it's 2-2. Now, George Frazier, you wouldn't be a guy that would actually apply a foreign substance to the baseball,
no,
would you?
I really didn't, because I bought it right here in the United States. It wasn't foreign at all. It's made by Johnson & Johnson. Actually, you get it in most drugstores. Yeah, why not? Little keep your neck soft in the backside on the right hand side. Yeah, and occasionally go back there and touch it, and you never know what might happen.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out, and the base is loaded. Young guy out there, we forget that, and you wonder about that call, how that can unnerve a young pitcher.
And you know, you think, and you're right, young guy, won 13 games a year ago, near the top and all the rookie stuff that went on with pitchers and rookie of the year, third in the ballot, all those things you think we might handle, but you got to remember he's still very young. And sometimes with an umpire you start to have a discussion. It's the heat of the moment, you know, it's the adrenaline rush. You turn, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. You did. No, you did something wrong. It's a ball, and they try to explain it, but yet it can affect your thought process coming back.
So for the second time, it's another 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded. And it's a walk to make it 3-0 here in the first for Colorado.
Well, his command, I would have to think either this might be the first or one of the very few that he's ever walked or run in a game.
And now Molina out to try to calm him down a little bit. You see the lowest team ERA in road games since May 20th, and the Cardinals are in the top 5 of baseball.
And that's why they're winning a lot of baseball games, and they performed very well this year against the National League West. Part of that, and this is a lot of power type ballparks, but you go out, I mean, you look at the Cardinals right now, 10-7 against the West, handled the East very well, but it's because of their way they pitch. All their starting pitchers pound the strike zone, and you got a good defense behind you.
It's already 36 pitches here in the first inning for Jaime Garcia.
Well, if you just joined us, if you're wondering why Molina made that trip, Dave Duncan was out after the 4th batter, so 2 trips and he's gone. So obviously it's up to Molina to get him back focused to where he needs to be.
Chris Iannetta hitting .220, 5 homers. He's driven in 16.
A big double last night's ball game into left center field.
There's that changeup that Garcia's got.
And one of the few we've seen in the ball game so far. And the success of that changeup relies on him really pronating to the inside, and you want to tell him to jam that thumb down into the dirt area, and that creates that movement. That was outstanding.
That pitch is up. 2 balls and 1 strike. So again, the base is loaded. Tulowitzki, Helton, and spillboards. Hitters count again, and that's what Garcia has been facing this entire first inning.
Well, they're hoping you try to work through this thing and get out with under 40, 45 pitches. I mean 45, because he's at 39 right now. Ain't going to happen.
Little base hit into center field. 1-1 is in. Here comes Todd Helton. And the throw goes into the bag at second base. It is all Rockies here in the first. It's 5-0.
You take the RBIs and success any way you can. If you're Chris Iannetta, gut shot fastball right down the middle, belt high, is able to fight this off into the outfield. Last night he picked up an RBI. He picks up 2 more here in the first inning. One look at this pitch from Garcia, trying to run it down into the zone, but as you can very well see, belt high, inner half, and Iannetta made him pay.
First 10 starts, you see what he's done.
That's amazing. I mean, just outstanding. First inning, 1 run allowed. And here today, 5 already on 5 hits and a couple of walks.
Right now, no activity in the Cardinals bullpen. Last night, the Cardinals had Brian Talent lead the game with a sore elbow. Wouldn't think he'd be available today. And you're playing at Coors Field with another game tomorrow.
Well, the hard part is that the bullpen can be affected not by today and tomorrow, but the 3 or 4 days after you leave here, because you have to use a lot of the bullpen if your starters do not carry on. Juan Nicasio, if you're wondering, at the AA level, they're required to use the bat against National League teams. So when they play your Springfield Cardinals, the Tulsa Drillers, the pitchers hit in those ball games. So it's not something he has not done all year.
The biggest inning, if you're wondering, for the Rockies this year, 6 runs on April 14th against the Mets. And that was part of that start that Jim Tracy saw his team go 11-2, beat up on the Mets at the beginning of the year. But since then, it's been a different looking team.
Total different looking team. You have that puzzle of hitting, pitching, and fielding. They've pitched it and they've caught it. They just haven't swung the bat well at all.
There's a strikeout for Garcia. But if you're Jim Tracy, you couldn't have asked for a better first inning, a 5-run lead for a rookie on the mound.
Oh, this is just a dream come true for him. As he said, maybe he'll be the spark plug. Maybe it'll be Eric Young Jr. and Dexter Fowler, 2 speed guys at the top. Well, that was so far so good.
So 5 hits, a pair of walks, and 5 runs here in this first inning. Second time we've seen Eric Young Jr. in the minor leagues against left-handed pitching hit .278 against those righties. He was .406.
Big difference from that left side. He had finally figured it out to utilize his speed, keep the ball on the ground and out of the air, and by doing that you get these results.
That'll roll foul. Eric Young Jr. singled, scored, stole a base.
From the start of spring training, Eric Young Jr. made a lot of changes in his approach at the plate and with the way he wanted to try to see the baseball and to keep the ball on the ground. And the best way for him to do that was to change his stance. And before, he was wider, he was squatted down more, and what you're going to look at now is it's going to be an angle this way for him. It's kind of rock back on the leg, and then you're going to see nothing but just a stride with his hands. It's all about a hand swing. And I think that's been the biggest difference for him in his success even in AAA. The head and the hand stay very still.
1 ball, 1 strike on EY Jr. Lives it past Descalso for a 2-out base hit into left. 6-0 Colorado here in the first. He's already 2 for 2.
Well, let's take a look just what we were talking about on Eric Young Jr. keeping everything quiet at the plate. You got a nice little rock back here, and now all of a sudden when he comes forward, the hands stay very quiet. You don't see a lot of movement. A pitch down, head follows it in. Not a big stride, not a late kick, just quiet and under control swing. And with the third baseman playing even on the grass even, with 2 outs and EY up, he was able to shoot it by.
Dexter Fowler walked and scored. 6 hits here in the first inning against Jaime Garcia. The breaking ball that's taken low and in. Well, Tony La Russa in the ball game last night turned to his bullpen to get the final 12 outs. And certainly you're going to see the bullpen here today.
Yeah, and they did a really good job last night. Batista 2 innings, a couple of strikeouts. Sanchez an inning, and Mott an inning to clean things up last night. Westbrook threw a lot of pitches through 5, so they had to go do that. Jake Westbrook picked up his 5th win last night.
1-2 the count. One of those games where you try to get Garcia back in the dugout, regroup, and give you 4 or 5 innings.
Well, he's going to have to. It's just the one thing that's battling against him right now is his pitch count. Even though he's pitched great games where he's had 2 complete games so far. Hopefully this will end the misery so far. And think of the misplayed ball at the start of the inning. Parker made a little rough on him.
6 hits, 6 runs. Denver, Colorado, and Fox Saturday Baseball. Think outside the bun. Denver, Colorado, and it's 6-0 as we move to the top of the second. Kyle McClellan is mic'd up.
I'm mic'd up. FYI. Fox.
Kyle McClemmons. So
Yep.
big time. They mic'd you up.
Skip didn't want to do it, so he asked me to do it.
You draw Garfuth. So let me get this right. They went from Skip Schumacher right to you.
Yeah.
No other people.
Big upgrade. Big upgrade.
Congratulations, bud.
Thanks,
You're really
man.
working your way
Thank
up
you.
in the world, man.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's a St. Louis native, Kyle McClellan, who's now in the starting rotation for the injured Adam Wainwright. And he's talking about Skip. That's Skip Schumacher, who originally agreed to wear the mic, but we've got Kyle on it, so good job. The aforementioned Skip digging in here in the second. And a 6-run lead in the second inning. From a Cardinal perspective, you're in Coors Field.
It's trouble, and you hope maybe the Rockies, if you're on the other side in that other dugout, you're Garcia and the Cardinals. You're hoping that I hope the arms got a little tired in the first inning, and I can at least give my club 3 or 4 more innings. It'd be interesting after the long wait in between innings how Nicasio comes back out and attacks the strike zone. Sometimes it can affect pitchers that have to sit.
Schumacher with a base hit late in the ball game as a pinch hitter last night. Dealing with an arm issue, just got off the disabled list on this road trip. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Coming back from break, you saw Denver and the skyline and this ballpark, this franchise, has transformed this area of downtown Denver.
No question about it. It's just revitalized everything down here, from the shops to all the different restaurants to go to, the ballparks right here, the Pepsi Center with the Nuggets across the street, not far from where the Broncos play. So I think this ballpark, when they built it, they picked the perfect spot to do it.
A 3-2 pitch. Schumacher, a bouncer towards second. Eli Jr. And that's the first out here in the top of the second. Brings in Yadier Molina. Molina, one of the 3 Molina brothers that have played in the major leagues. Before it's all said and done, he might go down as the best of the 3.
I would agree with that. I think he is, but what he has concentrated on this year, swinging the bat. The other thing, obviously, is the Cardinals went out, and they want to be very conscious of the fact of not overloading him.
This July, baseball's biggest stars go head-to-head for one spectacular night. Summer's biggest event. Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox.
I know the town is really looking forward to that All-Star game in Phoenix. The Rockies have already traveled there twice. So you play Arizona within the division and go there. The city's very excited about the opportunity.
Daniel Descalso. Late innings has been outstanding for Tony La Russa's club. And a tie into the Rockies is Carney Lansford, was his high school baseball coach growing up in Northern California. Daniel played with his boys, and Daniel grew up idolizing the Oakland A's of Tony La Russa's teams. Slaps one the other way for a base hit.
Yeah, both of Carney's sons now playing professionally with Oakland. The youngest in Double-A, the oldest a converted third baseman, now relieving in Stockton with the Oakland organization. Trying to stay calm, stay under control, and try to just catch up to a fastball and meet it efficiently, and that's exactly what he did. Descalso did a nice job of taking that ball to the opposite field. A lot of times the left-handers will try to get too quick. They'll roll over the top of that fastball and hit a comfortable ground ball to second.
And at least they'll get Garcia through the lineup here. In the second inning, he'll dig in with 2 outs and a runner at first.
Yeah, it's a good job because you roll that lineup over. Just what you're talking about, Dan. They get back to the top with a couple outs.
George Frazier, Dan McLaughlin, Fox Saturday Baseball in primetime. Garcia is 2 for 22 this year with 1 RBI.
A year ago in his career, 182. A year ago he hit 185. Knocked in a couple of runs. Not scared to swing it with that one. Pretty good hack.
The game has changed here at Coors Field with the humidor, and the numbers have proven that out.
Yeah, no question at all about that. You can see Terrio as he starts to look in to get ready and take the opportunity to get swings on Nicasio. A lot of guys that come in here, and you watch Rockies hitters too, they'll get in a stance as if they're prepared to swing from where they're standing to get the timing down, particularly when they haven't seen somebody. But a lot of times guys start to cheat over behind home plate so you get a better look on the breaking ball.
Now, you being a former pitcher, that would bother you.
Them.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I mean, I think of a story of Cliff Johnson in Oakland. I actually called time and had Davey Phillips, an umpire out of the Kansas City area, move him. They put that little white circle over there for a reason. Go stand in it.
Garcia strikes out. It's midway through 2. All Rockies so far. Times are waiting. Grab some buds. Denver, Colorado, and it's 6-0 Rockies as we move to their half of the second. They batted around in the first against Jaime Garcia. Here's Carlos Gonzalez, the batting champion from a year ago. Looks at a strike, followed by Troy Tulowitzki and then Todd Helton. So you get out of the first, now you get to face the big three.
Yeah, how much fun is that? I mean, you think you had enough trouble giving up 6 hits on 6 runs, so you got to come back and face these guys. But if you come to the dugout, Dave Duncan sets you down and say, look, our team leads the league in hitting. We're going to score runs. We're going to do well against this kid. Go give us some zeros. You know, try to put a positive spin on it for him. And a lot of guys give up runs early in games here and walk away with a win.
Garcia, that 6-run first, most that he has allowed in the first inning of his major league career of any ball game that he's pitched in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The foul tip that catches Molina. Gonzalez off to a slow start, hitting just .253, but RBIs and home runs not bad at all. 8 home runs. He's driven in 32.
Well, had a lot of disappointment early in the season. Has really turned around in the month of May, and I think that's the one thing. 19 RBIs now in the month of May, so things have started to turn the corner for Carlos Gonzalez. And again, a guy that signed a long-term contract, a big commitment to this organization, and he maybe felt that pressure to Jim Tracy and to Dan O'Dowd and ownership to go out and do more than what he's necessary of doing. Is obviously a very accomplished young player.
Strikeout number 3 for Garcia. Gentleman on the left, George Frazier, telling me, man, that guy is handsome. Look at him.
I don't know about. I just wish I'd have pitched a whole lot better. I grew up in Springfield, Missouri. I love the Cardinals and Bob Gibson and everybody. Stan Musial, Lou Brock, the whole group when I came up. But that was a fun time for me to be pitching in my home state for the Cardinals. And I'll say this, they're one of the best fans, and I'm not saying it because we're doing a Cardinal telecast. I've said it to you numerous times. And my sister Judy was their best fans, I think, in baseball.
And you pitched for Kenny Boyer.
Kenny Boyer and then Whitey Herzog. And Whitey traded me on to the New York Yankees.
And then you beat him in '87. You were a member of the Twins.
Yeah, but you got to know how to pick your teammates in April, and you get chances to do things.
Here's Troy Tulowitzki, one of those guys that was signed long-term in the offseason. Pass Pujols again into right field. And Pujols is slow to get up. Grabbing that left shoulder. Both Tony La Russa and Barry Weinberg, a Cardinal trainer, out the top step of the dugout.
Now waved him off to go back to the dugout. Hard hit ball, but Pujols, second time he's dove. I think part of that is this is a big man, folks, at first base, and when he dove, he rolled over on the shoulder versus just sliding forward. That may have put some pressure, put a little bit of a stinger in it or a kink in it for a few minutes.
And now it's Todd Helton. 1 out runner at first. Helton singled and scored back in the first inning.
First time he'd faced Garcia in his career. Comes up with a base hit. Those numbers this year, a reflection. Todd's been the most consistent hitter in the Rocky lineup this year.
He was saying the other day that the back issues he had when he sleeps or when he's running.
It's horrible for him at night. A lot of sleepless nights for him, and going obviously from hotel to hotel and getting the right combination to get a good night's rest, and then come to the ballpark with it. And what he really did this offseason is the conditioning side for his lower half of his body would help strengthen the back, obviously, and then strengthen his swing, and the results show that.
Here at Coors Field, big crowd on hand.
Well, it's a big weekend because of Military Appreciation Day tomorrow here at the ballpark, which they expect to sell out. And people in Denver realize the surrounding areas that this is a good baseball team. They've not shown it of late, but they come to watch because they're entertaining.
Opened up at Mile High Stadium, then moved to Coors Field. And there's a walk to Helton. It's a third walk issued by Jaime Garcia. Tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox is live from Charlotte, where Kurt Busch will try to defend his title, take home his first checkered flag of the year. Coverage of the Coca-Cola 600 begins tomorrow with the pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific in high definition here on Fox.
Carl Edwards leads the NASCAR standings now with Jimmy Johnson at second with 392 points.
Here's Ty Wigington and runners at first and second. And a big breaking ball. Now, George, you know, prior to the humidor, slick baseballs, very tough for a pitcher to try to get just a grip and a feel.
Well, and it became harder, so they traveled farther. And they get the feel for the breaking ball, the fastball, the command issues. Walks were up tremendously throughout that time frame. And by using the humidor, it allows the ball to stay in its natural state. And it's just changed the game at Coors Field.
Wigington struck out with the bases loaded back in the first. Garcia would love a strikeout here or a double play. The 0-2. It's the strikeout. That's 4 on the afternoon. So the humidor has changed it here at Coors Field.
Yes, it has. Stored down the hallway from the Rockies locker room, and basically a huge cooler where the baseballs are brought in and then they are put in there, rubbed up, and then they put up. And then, of course, statistically, it'll prove itself out that this ballpark is much different now. 95 to 0-1, you see the runs per game, home runs allowed, or everything's down since the humidor was put in. There's the averages for baseball away from Coors Field. So the humidor has played a role in that. They've allowed the grass at Coors Field to grow a little higher in the infield to give better opportunity for guys to field the baseball, which I think is a plus. It used to be like a pool table.
Here's Spilborghs. Bases loaded walk his first time up, also scored a run. Runners at first and second. And pitch taken down and in. One ball, one strike. Two and one.
2 times Garcia has been hurt in his career in starts, and that came against Houston August 3rd last year. We give up 8 runs, 4 of them earned though. And then September 8th at Milwaukee, 7 runs, all of them earned in that start.
The 2-1 pitch. Swung on, and it's 2-2.
Well, a cutter at 87 miles an hour, but it's the position of the cutter coming from the outside part of the plate to the middle. Difficult to do anything with.
Two is tapped foul. See the defense for the Cardinals in particular in the outfield straight away. Ryan Spilborghs. That's taken high, and it's another 3-2 count. He's either been pitching behind in counts all day, or we see 3-2.
And that's not a guy 5-0. Coming in with an earned run average for Garcia at 193, 65 in the third, just 13 walks. This doesn't look to be the same guy.
On 3-2, the runners off of the pitch. 2 outs. We'll do it again. The Rockies come in. They're 2 games below 500, 24 and 26. First time they've been below 500 in more than a year. The 2 games below. Runners again off with the pitch. Base hit into left center field. This will make it 7-0 Rockies. And with that base hit RBI, time for a DirecTV game break. Let's go to Chris Rose, Mitch Williams in Los Angeles. All right, guys, thank you. 7-0 here. Garcia floats that in for a strike to Chris Iannetta, who singled, picked up an RBI in the first inning. 6 runs in the first, another here in the second inning. It's added up to a 7-run Rockies lead. Cincinnati, you just saw that highlight. They start 4 games back of St. Louis in the Central Division. Maybe the team to watch out for in the Central: Sean Markham, Zach Greinke, the Milwaukee Brewers.
And Randy Wall, throw it in there. I just watched that ball club last weekend. A very good ball club. Starting to swing the bat better. Braun leading the way, of course, and then they've got speed in their outfield.
Prince Fielder, free agent to be. He's putting up big numbers.
Well, Oxford coming out of the bullpen, closing games out in a 95 to 99 miles an hour. Oxford, one of those guys that you just kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's in that closer's role for their bullpen. Troy Hawkins is off the DL, setting things up, but I think I agree with you. They're going to be a surprise ball club.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Runners at first and third, and a 7-run lead for the Colorado Rockies. Hard hit towards third. Descalso makes the play over to Pujols. The Rockies add to their lead. They strand 2. 7-0. Fox Saturday Baseball here from Denver. Bob Apodaca is wearing a microphone, mic'd up for sound this afternoon.
5:14. What time do you want to be in the dugout?
How many minutes?
5 minutes.
So 5:10 you want to be in the dugout. 5:09. Okay. You got your first inning over with. Now it's a baseball game.
Yeah, very good advice from Bob Apodaca, who as a pitching coach had worked in the minor leagues. A base hit back up the middle by Terrio to lead off the third inning.
Terrio's 2 for 2.
And Bob had worked in the Mets organization before going to Milwaukee and then here with the Colorado Rockies, but because of our influence with Rolando Fernandez and a scout in the Dominican, the Rockies pitching staff has really benefited with Latin American players. So Bob has had to do his Spanish homework, so to speak, to communicate better with the Latin players.
There's John Jay, who bounced into a double play his first time up. Bob was telling us back in 1974, first win for him was over Bob Gibson, 4-2, and he said, yeah, the win was nice, but getting a hit off of Bob Gibson was even better.
I got to see video. I want proof.
1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Bob doesn't talk a lot about his career, but he worked a very good curveball, good fastball, and had elbow surgery. And at that time, it wasn't like going to get the oil changed. It was major, and he never recovered.
Albert Pujols is on deck. And a 1-1 pitch. Slapped the other way for a base hit. First 2 have reached, and you got 1 swing of the bat from Albert Pujols, and you get on the board and maybe get back in this game.
Well, that's the thing about it for Garcia. His pitch count is way up in this ball game, but you know, if you get a couple of guys on, and then yes, that 1 swing of the bat by Albert Pujols, or even a Berkman who has the home run power, hitting right behind him, the name of the game changes very quickly.
George, here's another aspect right now is that you have a guy making his major league debut. He's already 1 time through the order. At this level, changing it up the 2nd time through.
Almost absolutely you have to do it. And I think it's very important, and that's where you're going to rely on Chris Iannetta, your catcher, veteran catcher behind the plate. But the problem with it, Dan, more than anything, he's a fastball guy. His slider is now probably his worst pitch as far as being able to strike out a hitter with it, but a very good changeup. So now which secondary pitch do you go to start the hitter off with? And can you command it to throw it in the strike zone?
The first pitch to Pujols. Off-speed pitch and a strike. A lot has been made this year of Albert Pujols. See what he's done with runners in scoring position, the .340 average. Free agent to be, and what may happen. His time in St. Louis. Pujols fan here in Denver.
A lot of Pujols fans around baseball.
Get that right. Bounces it to Tulowitzki. Out at second. That's a double play. Pujols has grounded into 16 double plays this year. 16.
Well, that's a lot for a line drive fly ball hitter. And then Tulowitzki, who has a very strong arm and very agile, a lot of range at shortstop, goes airborne, but the throw perfect to Eric Young Jr. And his exchange, which he's worked on a lot, staying on the bag, not allowing John Jay to take him out, and they're able to turn the double play.
Talk about agility. That's a big man at shortstop with a cannon for an arm.
6'4", and you know, sitting and looking at him at 6'4", 225 pounds.
Here's a first pitch to Lance Berkman, who singled his first time up. Cardinals have bounced into 2 double plays here in the first 3 innings.
Well, you need a little luck if you're Juan Nicasio to get out of those jams like that. Have some balls deflected. Have double plays turned. Have some balls hit hard right at people.
And Berkman pops it up to the left side. Wigginton is over and out of room.
Well, here Coors Field, you always check the wind, but you check it by looking at what they call the rock pile in center field. And because of the row of flags above the rock pile will tell you which way the wind's going, and typically it blows into the right field corner of this ballpark. Today it's blowing out to left field and to left center.
1 ball, 1 strike on Berkman. Outfield deep. Good changeup.
Yeah, good changeup, and again about 9 to 10 miles an hour below the fastball velocity, but the location of it was perfect. It was on that outer half and moving away from Berkman.
Jim Tracy saying that in spring training, Nicasio was not a major league ready player.
He was not, and I would agree with Jim with that because of the slider. And it's not just playing the game and not going out to the mound. It's everything else that goes along with that, and that's, you know, being able to handle the financial side of things as a big league ball player, the ability to take care of yourself at a major league city and still stay focused with the job at hand. And I don't think he was one of those guys that was ready, but through a lot of hard work and preparation in Tulsa, he's been transformed himself into one of those guys. And the Rockies, quite honestly, were forced into going to find a hot arm, and his was the hottest one in the organization at this time with a 5-1 record.
The 1-2 pitch to the former Astro, Lance Berkman. Hit in the air out to center field. Fowler is back with room, and he'll put it away. Cardinals strand a runner, their 4th of the day. Colorado on top. It's Fox Saturday Baseball. High lows. Lows, let's build something together. Back in Denver, where the Rockies have jumped out to a 7-0 lead on Jaime Garcia, one of the top lefties in baseball statistically so far this year. Juan Nicasio, then the top of the lineup, Eric Young Jr. and Dexter Fowler.
Well, Nicasio did a nice job the last inning after a couple of leadoff singles, getting the double play ball and then working out of the deep fly ball by Berkman.
Garcia struck out 4 on the afternoon, make it 5. Time for a DirecTV game break. Let's go to Chris Rose and Mitch Williams in Los Angeles. Freddie Freeman, Jason Hayward, who is hurt right now, but you think about the young players Atlanta has developed. There's another one.
Well, Vitters, Kimbrel, 2 left-hand, left-right combination coming out of the bullpen. I mean, Billy Wagner retired, and they handed the ball to a right-hander that throws just like him, and Kimbrel, who's a big right arm. Of course, Vitters, another guy that throws the ball extremely hard.
Backhanded by Descalso, and there's 2 outs. Garcia's yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. Next week's Fox Saturday Baseball returns as the Cubs head to St. Louis. They'll take on the Cardinals. Also the Rockies and Giants. Dodgers square off against the Reds. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Sprint begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Here is Dexter Fowler. It really is one of the great rivalries that you were a part of, George. Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah, it's at both sides with the Cardinals and the Cubs in mid-'80s when the Cubs won and went to the playoffs. Yeah, it was a little exciting around those 2 towns.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fowler has walked and scored back in the first, grounded into a fielder's choice as well. The 1-1 pitch by Jaime Garcia. Garcia strike away from having a 1-2-3 inning.
Well, Garcia went to the breaking ball when he wanted to get Eric Young Jr. because after two, but man, you can really see the grip pressure being applied on the seam, and then that rotation and follow through, the tumbling action of the ball trying to work down into the zone. He gets Young to roll over the top of it for a ground ball out.
Coors Field here in Denver really filled up. Big crowd. Expecting a sellout tomorrow. And the 1-2 pitch. It's a strikeout. 2 in the inning. 5 today for Garcia. Colby Rasmus leads it off when we come back. Is sponsored by the all-new Focus from Ford. Drive one. And by Just for Men for mustache and beard. Keep your edge. George Frazier, Dan McLaughlin with you. Fox Saturday Baseball in primetime from Denver, Colorado. And all Rockies so far with a score of 7-0. They've out hit the Cardinals 8-5 in this game. Colby Rasmus, Skip Schumacher, and Yadier Molina for St. Louis. That pitch is hammered high in the air, deep right center field. Fowler is back with room and makes the catch.
Yeah, the wind obviously changed here at Coors Field. That ball was hit. It had that sound off of the bat. And again, I thought he just smoked it, Colby Rasmus. And then when he got out into right center field, just died in one of the deeper parts of the ballpark. Listen to that sound. As a pitcher, it's not a sound you want to hear often, but again, it just died right in front of the Cardinal bullpen.
Here's Skip Schumacher, who bounced out to second. Spacious center field that we've talked about. 415 to dead center. 0-1 pitch. Hit in the air out to the left. On the move. Gonzalez. Gold Glover puts it away. Gonzalez essentially replacing Matt Holliday. And Matt Holliday is available to pinch hit here in this ball game. Wilfred, a new original comedy starring Elijah Wood, premieres next month on FX. Yadier Molina. Strike one. The Cardinal catcher 0 for 1. He's flied out to right. People around here know about Matt Holliday. What a great player he was here, wearing a Rocky uniform.
Tremendous player. Started his career here as a minor league baseball player and escalated to the big leagues due to injuries. Got his chance. And obviously a tremendous baseball player. You know, a lot of people don't know this, and they do know he was a great quarterback in high school, but also a tremendous basketball player in high school.
When he's in the lineup, the Cardinals are 10 games above 500, 6-6. When he's out of the lineup, nearly, George, a 3-run difference. When you talk about the middle of this lineup for St. Louis, you could have Pujols, Berkman, Holliday, and Rasmus, and they're missing a David Freese, who's the normal everyday third baseman. Big loss.
Big loss. A huge loss from the opposition, staring into a dugout or staring at a lineup card and what they have to do to prepare, because there's 4 spots you're going to go through there that aren't going to be easy to get through.
0-2 the count on Molina. There's Hatton, a diving stop, the Gold Glover. Nice play.
Juan Nicasio looked at. We didn't have that in Tulsa. That's pretty good.
Fox Saturday baseball in prime time, and it's 7-zip Colorado.
To see Todd Helton make these plays, make it look easy. His reaction to 1-2 dive and able to get the baseball and then the feed from the knees to Nicasio.
There's Carlos Gonzalez. Well, you talked about Matt Holliday being a pretty good football player. The guy down at first, Todd Helton, not too shabby either.
Well, when you get replaced by a future Hall of Famer in the NFL, Peyton Manning, you know you were pretty good, and that's what Todd was at Tennessee. He was a very good running quarterback, more of an option guy, but also could throw the football. He had Ty Wigington visiting in the dugout.
Gonzalez is 1 for 2, and he rips that down into the corner in right field. Lead off extra base hit. Gonzalez digging for 2. It'll stop right there. Lead off double.
Early in the year, he would get out on his front side and not hit this breaking ball the way he hit it here. Even though the ball's moving away from him to the outer half, Gonzalez now, you're going to see this ball start to cut. But as it starts to cut, look how long, and his plate coverage with his swing is just tremendous. And out in front, just jerk that into the corner in right field.
That's hit to the right side by Tulowitzki. Makes the play, advancing Gonzalez. But Todd Helton, when he was at Tennessee, as you mentioned, not just a baseball player, but also a fine football player as well. Back in 1994, Todd Helton. That's against UCLA right there. I think he made the right choice, George.
Well, I think he did too. Coming out of high school, turned down a lot of money from the San Diego Padres and went to college at Tennessee, and then a first-round pick here with the Colorado Rockies, and then was in the big leagues a couple of years following that.
You had the Blake Street Bombers, you had the Denny Nagel, Mike Hampton era, which they spent that kind of money. But this guy truly has been the face of the franchise here with the Colorado Rockies.
For a very long time, and he and his wife, Christy, very active in the community here in Denver. It's a charity situation. Took off third base too early. Gonzalez did. Now they're going to catch him in a trap. So now they're handing the run down.
Still in it.
Yep, they're going to give him the base. Interference, I think.
Wow.
Sure are. Garcia ran into him after the throw.
It's that kind of evening right now for the Cardinals and Jaime Garcia.
Well, it's a very good call, because Garcia, once you get rid of the baseball, you're going to dump yourself out of the way and do whatever you can. As he chases him back, thinking he could catch him, you can see as he makes the turn back into it, he catches his shoulders and head into Garcia, so the run scores. Helton advanced to second during the rundown. And Helton hit the ball sharply right to Pujols. Gonzalez kind of gave a half jog to the plate and caught a Pujols by surprise. Maybe he was just trying to draw the throw, get back to third, and then allow Helton to be safe. But as it turns out, the run scores, the 8th for the Rockies.
You see now Garcia just talking to himself. He has not been in this spot all season long. Trailing by 8 runs, lack of command. He's getting hit around. And already a pitch count at 100. We're only in the 4th with 1 out.
4th, yeah, 100 pitches. On the other side of that, Nicasio with just 50-something and 53 in his start through 4 innings of work. A big first inning just really got him when the Rockies put a 6 spot on the board with 6 hits. The last time he gave up 8 runs was in a start versus Houston in August a year ago.
Beautiful look at Coors Field in Denver. Right-hander getting loose for St. Louis in the bullpen. The 2-0 pitch taken a little bit high by Ty Wigginton. Spielborg's on deck.
Well, yesterday it was the Cardinals' turn in a 10-3 win. Franklin, the former closer, now working long to middle relief for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The 3-0. Ball 4. There's that purple row. The seats in right field. Mile high right there, that row.
The only guy I've ever seen hit a ball there, and it was in batting practice, was Barry Bonds. And he did do it. I have witnesses, folks. He did do it.
Tony La Russa out. Longest home run listed is off the bat of Mike Piazza at this ballpark.
Yeah, right center field, and it's up in that upper deck, third deck facings where he hit the baseball. Larry Walker hit one there, but it was about 10 feet to the right of it.
For Piazza, it was measured at 496 feet off a former Cardinal, also former Rocky Darren Holmes back in 1997.
Well, I watched Mark McGuire one day batting practice, hit it all the way to the face of the rock pile in center field. That was in '98 when he and Sammy Sosa were going at it for the home run titles. Well, Sammy Sosa hit a ball midway up the scoreboard in left field above the walkway.
Out to center field. over the head of Colby Rasmus off the base of the wall. 2 runs were scored. 10-0 Colorado.
Spielberg's 3 RBIs in this ball game so far. Coming on another pitch, a cutter that's going to come to the inside. When this ball was hit, I think Colby Rasmus was thinking this ball was not hit quite as far as he broke back on the ball in a jog and then sped up once it hit at the base of the wall. But I would think at some point Tony La Russa's got to hope Franklin gets ready and get what has been his best pitcher the entire year out of the ball game and limit the damage. It's 10 runs on 10 hits now.
As you talked about, the former closer of the Cardinals, Ryan Franklin, began the year as their closer. Has had his issues, and now they're trying to get him straight. You'd figure with a 10-run lead, this would be the time to let him come in and pitch.
You know, I found working in the National League as a reliever, and it made it difficult because your pitcher was pinch hit for.
High drive, deep left field. Way out of here. It's a home run. 2-run homer for Iannetta to make it 12-0 Rockies.
And finally, this crowd having something to cheer about, putting a 12 spot on the board in their home ballpark where they had struggled to have a winning record here. Tony La Russa will double switch now, and he'll go get Franklin out of the bullpen. Kind of enough is enough type attitude for this young man that's on the hill tonight. Iannetta with a single and an RBI earlier comes up with a 2-run home run, his 6th of the season.
So here comes Franklin in for St. Louis. All Rockies 12-0. For Iannetta.
Really opened that front side up, had a ball out away from him, and got to great extension, and still has some of the best power of anybody on this ball club. It's just has been inconsistent power for Iannetta.
Double switch for Tony La Russa. Tony Cruz will take over behind the plate for Yadier Molina. And the new pitcher is Ryan Franklin. Numbers not pretty. ERA at 9.20 in his 13 appearances this year.
Well, I started to say it was much easier to try to get back in a groove when you're out there for 2 or 3 innings.
Join Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association in helping the victims of the devastating tornadoes that have hit our country. Support the relief efforts by visiting hearttoheart.org to make a donation and learn how you can help.
Anything you can do throughout this country with the tornadoes, and of course, close to all of our hearts, Joplin, Missouri.
Right. Coors Field can humble you, and we've seen that today with Jaime Garcia.
Yeah, make you want to run and hide and never come back here. Trevor Hoffman, one of the best closers in the history of the game, said, "Why haven't they blown it up yet?" He hated to pitch in this ballpark.
0-2 the count. All right, you're Tony La Russa, you're Dave Duncan. What are you hoping to see here from Ryan Franklin?
Command, down in the strike zone, the use of all your pitches, and realistically for me, the want to be out in this situation and earn your respect to get back to that other spot down in your bullpen. And that's the closer's role.
The 0-2 pitch. Just missed on the outside corner to Nicasio.
And that's one pitch, even though it's Nicasio, I mean, you just made a pitch you think was strike 3. And obviously our Campbell angle's a little bit off in center field. But he didn't miss Cruz's glove at all. And that's where you're thinking. Look for consistent velocity. And Franklin consistently with sink is 89 to 93. And that's what you're looking for however long you can leave him out here. And by doing the double switch, you hope to catch 2 innings out of it, maybe 3.
Tony Cruz made his major league debut this past week for St. Louis when they were in San Diego. And in that debut had 3 hits. Strikeout for Franklin. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And we're back to the top of the lineup. Eric Young Jr. 2 for 3 has hit the ball hard all 3 times.
With Cruz going in to replace Molino, who would be the emergency catcher now, because there's not another one on the bench. Not carrying 3 is Milwaukee's carrying 3 now, but which is unusual in the National League.
You're probably talking about Alan Craig or Daniel Descalso, who's your third baseman right now. Strike 1 on Eric Young. Oh, 1 pitch to EY Jr. Hits it the other way. Descalso stays down on it and makes the play. Descalso leads it off when we come back. The Rockies add to their lead with 5 more here in the bottom of the 4th. 12-0 Colorado. Pitching into the 5th. 8th place hitter Daniel Descalso. Then Tony Cruz in the top of the lineup for St. Louis. 12-0 Rockies. 6 runs in the first, 1 in the second, none in the third, and 5 to chase Jaime Garcia in the bottom of the 4th.
Descalso put a nice swing on a ball away from him. Line drive left field on a fastball that was away at 96 miles an hour in his first at bat. The Cardinals, you wonder what happened second and third time through. It's just taken them a while to get to that second time through. They've been out on the grass a lot today.
The 0-2 pitch. Fox Saturday Baseball, prime time. Coors Field here in Denver. Two and two. One thing the Cardinals will tell you that video is a big part of their preparation. And I'm sure there was not a lot of video to find on this right-hander.
Well, probably the only you have may be against your AA hitters in Springfield against him, but then it's only going to be the hitter. It's not going to be the pitcher so much. So that's the only thing you're going to have to go by. That's where you call Pop Warner, your AA manager, visit with him a lot and say, hey, what's this guy got? Well, he throws really hard. That's what I can tell you, and he throws strikes.
And a ground ball to Todd Helton. Takes it himself. Take a look at our game summary here today. Brought to you by Jeep. Jaime Garcia, 3 1/3, 11 hits, 11 earned runs. Spilborg's a big afternoon so far with the 4 RBIs. Iannetta 2 for 2, home run and 4 RBIs. So here's Tony Cruz. Cruz part of the double switch. He's now in the 9th spot in the lineup. And Cruz shoots one foul and out of play.
20 home runs a couple of times at the minor league level. Drove in 85 runs. Cruz with big power.
Over 100 pitches today for Garcia. Did not foul many away. A lot were put in play.
Yeah,
not a lot of swing and misses.
Yeah, 11 hits given up, 12 runs.
2 balls and 1 strike.
The slider is probably the weakest of his 3 pitches, talking about Nicasio. Chris Iannetta having him throw it on a 1-1 count. Fastball back at 96 miles an hour. Just the 59th pitch for Nicasio in the game.
And George, isn't that what you're looking for, though, with guys that make that jump to this level? The secondary pitches, being able to throw those behind the count or establish a slider, in this case for a strike.
You have to. If you do not have the ability to throw a changeup or to throw a curveball slider mix behind in the count, unless you're working out of the bullpen and not being exposed to a lot, you have a chance to get hurt. Take Gonzalez. Did he get it? Fair ball.
Off his glove. Cruz on his way to third. No, he'll stop at second base, but nearly a tremendous catch. They left, and they'll applaud the effort of Carlos Gonzalez.
Off of the bat, I didn't think the ball was going to carry that far, but you read Cruz's minor league numbers and the power he showed there, you can see why it is this carry. And it is right down the left field line. Gonzalez leaves his feet trying to dive to catch the baseball. Just out of the reach, right off the tip of the ball glove into the corner. Look at that concentration and focus of trying to make the baseball meet a little leather and get the out in the inning.
Ryan Theriot 2 for 2 in the Cardinal leadoff hitters. That ball scoots away. I'm not sure if he was crossed up or just flat out missed it.
And I think there's a whiff on that, and that'll be the first guy to admit it. When he fails behind the plate, he doesn't like to mess with it. I think that had a lot of heavy sink down by it, just kind of swatted at it, and it got away from him.
Ruled a pass ball. Cardinals trying to get on the board, trailing by 12 runs. 2 balls and no strikes. It was back in 1999. This ballpark saw over 300 home runs, most ever in Major League history.
Prior to that, nice little silver box being built downstairs called the Humidor. And I will say this, you know, everybody wants to give the Humidor the credit. The Rockies pitching has been better. A higher quality of pitching, and the lack of walking people and creating big innings is what happened previous to that.
The 2-0 pitch to Ryan Theriot, former Cub and Dodger. To the left side. Run will score. Theriot picks up the RBI, his 19th. Last time the Cardinals saw a Major League debut was against Barry Enright. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits. But there's the list of the 5. The best of that bunch back in 08, Clayton Kershaw.
Well, he still might be one of the best of the bunch, too, of what he's been able to accomplish in the stability here at the big league level.
Kershaw, the lefty of the Dodgers. 2 outs. It's now 12-1. Here's John Jay. Bounced into a double play, also singled. There's an off-speed pitch for strike 1.
Yeah, Nicasio had to get refocused a little bit. He thought there was 3 outs in the innings when the ball went to first base, started walking off the mound, and Iannetta kind of bulldogged him a little bit and got him back up on the mound and saying, hey, you better get focused again. They get 3 outs in this league.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on. Ground ball to Tulowitzki. Fires at the first. And the Cardinals are through. Midway through 5. 12-1 Rockies. Let's build something together. Bottom of 5 rolls in, and it's 12-1 in favor of the Colorado Rockies.
That is so much fun to do. I can't believe you wouldn't do that with me. I tried to get you to go out this morning. You wouldn't do it.
That is not you.
And it won't be. Me?
I guarantee you
ever
that.
Again?
Me neither.
No, thank you.
New right fielder is Alan Craig for St. Louis. Part of the changes here. Got a double switch last inning, and Pete Kozma, former first-round pick, takes over at shortstop. He is an Oklahoma product, is Kozma.
Yeah, first-round draft pick out of Owasso High School. Larry Turner, the head coach there, has won a lot of state championships, 12 out of the last 14. Pete won 3 while he was there as a shortstop. He had a base hit, an RBI when he made his debut in St. Louis. You know what's kind of cool about it? I was kidding him in the locker room because he works out with my son and about 9 other pro guys at Oral Roberts University. And I said, since you left, my waistline's gone back to about a 39 because I hit you so many fungos. I was working that midsection and need to get back out with him again.
Well, they talk about when he was in high school, he played on artificial turf in Oklahoma. And one of the things that he had to make the adjustment at this level, the speed of the game, but going back to natural grass and charging the baseball.
I know there's no question because it is AstroTurf there at Owasso High School. And although it's nice AstroTurf and it's more of the long texture baseball type stuff, but it's still not playing on the dirt in the grass area. A year ago at Springfield, he really struggled there in AA in the first half fielding the baseball. I think that affected also his bat, and then all of a sudden the second half everything clicked for Pete and everything went well and put on a major league roster, had a good Arizona Fall League.
A 2-2 pitch to Dexter Fowler, taken outside. Another full count. We've seen a number of those today. Carlos Gonzalez on deck, and then Troy Tulowitzki. Fowler walked and scored. 0 for 2. Play him to pull. And it's a strikeout for Franklin. Picks up his second of the afternoon.
Well, the ability to elevate whenever you have a hard sinking fastball and a late run. Got the strikeout of Dexter Fowler, and I guarantee you there's nobody in baseball who wants to correct what's happened to himself than Franklin. Unfortunately, his failures as a closer left Tony and Dave no other choice but to move him down the ladder in the bullpen. Now it's a matter of throwing strikes, a matter of working your way back into that rotation of on the winning side of baseball games.
Get a good test here with Carlos Gonzalez, who had the batting championship a year ago, hit .336. 2 hits here today. Gonzalez has won a batting title. Larry Walker, 3 of them while here in Colorado. Todd Helton, Matt Holliday is now with the Cardinals.
Well, Andres Galarraga, that went on with the Cardinals, obviously came here and played very well and then extended his career.
Don Baylor opened up his stance, changed him. Don Baylor had him in St. Louis the year before.
Made it easy for him to come here to Colorado and be able to perform the way he did. And then Don Baylor was relieved of his duties as a manager. And Jim Leland came on board, then Clint Hurdle, and then Buddy Bell, Clint Hurdle, and now Jim Tracy. Don Baylor, hitting coach here for 2 years under Hurdle and Tracy, then has since moved on to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Now with Kirk Gibson as their manager. 1-2 pitch to Gonzalez. Now Jim Tracy is trying to find an offense to come together, which it certainly has here today. But as a team, hitting .239, and if they can get Ubaldo Jimenez back right, he's got something going here.
Well, they really do, and I think even the loss of De La Rosa, people were worried, what do you do for a left-handed starter? And my reply was, well, what do you do the other 4 days? You still got to send some guys out there. On the knuckles of Gonzalez, soft fly ball to third base.
Well, they have spent some money, did so in the offseason here with the Colorado Rockies, as Jimenez had his 15th win before the All-Star break last year. He also had a no-hitter under his belt. But new deals for these 4.
Well, it was important to get Tulowitzki and Gonzalez, 2 guys, the 1-2 punch tied up, and they are now for a number of years. De La Rosa, a 4-year contract, and then, of course, Ty Wigington, a 2-year contract, but now being a very big part of what the Rockies are trying to accomplish here. Todd Helton had signed a long-term contract over 8 years. And dispersed a little his last year of the contract, so to extend 2 more years to be a part of what he thinks could be something special here.
It's a long-term extension for Tulowitzki. Put together one of the greatest months in baseball history in September last year. 15 home runs, 40 driven in.
Well, when you tie a guy named Babe Ruth for most RBIs in a month, you know you've done a pretty good job. And that's what he did in the month of September.
The 0-2 pitch to Tulowitzki. Foul back. Signed his extension. First thing he did, he said he called his dad Ken. He said, quit your truck driving job.
Yeah, you get to retire and watch a lot of baseball now, and good for Troy for being able to do that and provide for his family. And again, this is a guy that's become very grown up very quickly at the big league level and accepting the responsibility of leadership, accepting what he needs to be in the community.
0-2 pitch to Tulowitzki to second. And a good outing so far for Ryan Franklin, trying to get back on track. 12-1 Rockies. Pujols coming up.
I mean, you're talking about one of the best hitters to ever play the game. What he's done the past 11 years, 12 years, whatever it's been, to consistently put up the numbers, it's amazing. And not only does he hit, he plays defense, he runs space as well, and he's got great baseball instinct. So he's a complete baseball player. So absolutely, I have the utmost respect for him.
Albert Pujols came into this year, career average of .331, 408 home runs, 1,230 RBIs in just 10 years. Leads it off 12-1 in favor of Colorado. Pujols has bounced into a 6-4-3 double play, and he also walked his first time up.
And I think obviously it gave confidence to Nicasio to get him out on the double play ball with after 2 straight base hits.
And a high fly ball into center field. Fowler is there. Time for a DirecTV game break. Let's go to Chris Rose and Mitch Williams in Los Angeles. All right, thank you. Mitch Williams must have known something. He was asked by Chris, of all the games tonight, which one do you want to see?
Yeah.
He said, I want to go to Minnesota. I want to watch that game. He must have known. Here's Alan Craig, who took over in right field for Lance Berkman. So the veterans getting a chance to get a little time off tonight for Tony La Russa. And on the flip side, for Colorado, a chance to regroup offensively.
Well, that's the shot in the arm Jim Tracy talked about, was this young ball club coming out and getting some runs early.
2 outs. Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment for patients. To learn more, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports.
With all the offense today, Ocasio's been overshadowed a little bit with his outing. 6 hits, 1 run, and doing just what the Rockies had hoped for in a spot start. Aaron Cook, the veteran right-hander, all-star a couple of years ago in 08, will come back now and make his start in the Springs today, Colorado Springs, where he started, and he will start Friday in San Francisco.
Colby Rasmus, 1 ball, 1 strike. Redbirds center fielder. He's popped out to short, also flied out to center.
A little bit different type webbing on a glove for Ocasio with all the different stitching. Guys find that special glove they like. They want to keep it. A lot of pitchers like to have a complete enclosed webbing so you can't see the set of a pitch if you're the hitter.
Also, the index finger is exposed, where sometimes hitters will pick that up, the index finger being out of the glove. Three and 2.
94 still with the fastball working into the 6th inning. Now he's only thrown 75 pitches.
Four hits last night. Pair of triples for Rasmus. A 3-2 pitch in the dirt.
What a pitch he wanted to try to make. You wonder on a 3-2 pitch, a changeup that he shook off Iannetta with a fastball. And in an 11-run lead, you'd like to see the challenge of a fastball more than you would a 3-2 changeup.
Skip Schumacher. Schumacher is 0 for 2. It's a Rockies club that began 11-2 this year. It's been a tough May. Jim Tracy, the manager of the year, 2009, has seen a club go through a remarkable run. Remember what they did a few years ago in 2007, won 21 of 22 down the stretch, and from May 22nd on, they were 72 and 46.
Yeah, what a job Jimmy did. Tulowitzki started to go to the bag, yet Eric Young Jr. did not get there and utilized that big arm to get the out.
support youth baseball across the country. And by Michelin, a better way forward. Watch Saturday baseball in prime time from Denver, Colorado, the Rockies and Cardinals. And here is Todd Helton. Number of changes already for Tony La Russa. Some more coming into the bottom of the 6th. Alan Craig moves from right field into first base. Albert Pujols is through for the afternoon. And Tyler Green takes over in right. Just a moment ago, you heard the great respect that Helton has for Albert Pujols. 0-1 pitch by Franklin. Make it 0-2. How about Pujols on Todd Helton?
When I came up in the league, I always look up to his preparation, how he prepared for the game. So I think that's something, that those guys on the other side had the privilege, guys, that hopefully at the end of his career, he has a pretty good chance to be a Hall of Fame and, and done so much for the organization, for the Rockies.
Albert Pujols on Todd Helton. And his numbers will be there, very close. Hall of Fame for number 17 of Colorado. And a strikeout for Franklin. Time for a DirecTV game break. Let's head back to Los Angeles. Chris Rose and Mitch Williams. All right, along with George Frazier, Dan McLaughlin here in Coors Field, Denver, Colorado. Here's Ty Wigington. You being a former pitcher can understand why we have seen the numbers increase of great pitching this year. You're looking at guys going deeper into games, no hitters, the strikeouts are up. What do you attribute that to?
Throwing strikes. I think guys finally realize they came to the big leagues. They don't have to be just perfect, but be enough that they're aggressive in the strike zone. And that's one thing that I talked to Dave Duncan, who I respect tremendously as a pitching coach, Bob Apodaca, two guys that have the same philosophy. That philosophy is pitch to contact, get quick outs. Ryan Franklin's came into a ball game 12-1, but what's he done? Quick outs.
This July, baseball's biggest stars will go head-to-head. One spectacular night, summer's biggest event. Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox. If there is a positive to be taken from this game, from a Cardinal perspective, is Ryan Franklin.
Has to be, because he has pounded the strike zone. 29 pitches, 21 for strikes. And from the other side, he looks at it. My ERA is not 9 anymore. It's 7.90 now. I'm doing a little better. I'm starting to get to where I might read the paper in the morning.
Here's Ryan Spilborghs. 11 hits for the Rockies today. They lead at 12-1. Able to chase Jaime Garcia in this ball game. The 0-1 pitch. Not sure if he is through for the afternoon.
And I would think with the league the way it is, the lead for the Rockies, that worst case scenario would be that he would probably pitch one more inning and then call it a day and then let the bullpen, because Jim Tracy has had to wear down his bullpen somewhat this year also. So as a result of that, I think that's one reason they are trying to get one more inning out of him. The Rockies with their 12-run outburst today against the Cardinals. Another base hit from Ryan Spilborghs today. Spilborghs has had a nice day with a couple of hits, a walk, 3 RBIs.
On base 4 times, and it brings in Iannetta.
Talking about that 12-run outburst, May 13th, and then June 1st, they did it against San Diego, Arizona. But in this ball game, the big club game with Chris Iannetta, smoked this ball into left field halfway up the concourse on a fastball that they wanted on the middle half end, left out over the middle of the plate.
So 2 outs and a runner at first. Alan Craig plays behind that runner with such a big lead. And it's another base hit.
Three hits now for Iannetta, those two singles and the home run. Bottom of the order today for the Rockies. Created 6 of those 12 RBIs. Franklin just 1 out from having a pretty good outing.
Here's Nicasio, the 8th player to make an appearance on the Major League roster this season. Originally signed by Colorado as a non-drafted free agent. Yeah, like a lot of Latin players, they get signed at 16 years old, but Nicasio was a little different. He didn't sign till 18. So he's 25 years old. Spent 1 year in the Dominican playing summer baseball, then came on to the Rockies, pitched in Casper. Contact this time. 3 punch outs, was going for the platinum sombrero. Doesn't come up with it. We're proud of you, son. Rockies strand 2. Sends us to the 7th. 12-1 Colorado.
Is it fun? Is it still fun? No, I'm not asking you how you feel. Yeah, I'm asking, is it still fun? Okay, then get a hit.
Well, at least he put it in play.
Yeah, he did. And then did you see Nicasio at the end? Here's this little line drive. He's like, hey, I might have had a hit. Okay, I didn't. I go on a right. I'll make a right turn and go in there and talk to my buddies. He's having fun. Well, how about this? You talk about coming to the big leagues, not being intimidated at all. The strikes thrown in this game, 50 strikes out of the 78 pitches, 12 called, 14 fouled. There's been 21 of them put in play, 3 swing and misses. The key to this thing is almost 2/3 strikes.
Ryan Franklin will hit for himself. Look to extend him even further in this game after the ineffective start by Jaime Garcia. Slap to the right side, knocked down, and the play is made. Franklin thought he had a base hit.
Yeah, just trying to think how many career at bats does Ryan Franklin probably have. Slapped this ball to the right side. And Eric Young just lays out, knocks it down, and the throw to Wigington, who's come in to replace Todd Helton at first base. Rockies with other changes. Amezaga now at third base, and Johnny Herrera at short.
Here's Descalso, 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Cardinals have been out hit 13-6 in this game. Rockies scored 6 in the first, 1 in the second, 5 in the fourth. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's a 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Over the years, a lot of fun ball games between these two teams, in particular here in Denver. Some of the crazy games, especially before the humidor. Saw some last year too for Colorado.
Yeah, it doesn't change. I mean, you just get some games in here like this where everything kind of gets blown up early. But what the problem with the Rockies, quite honestly, had been, Dan, is they would score early, maybe 3 or 4 in that first inning, and do a lot like they did last night, to just go dormant after the third.
Strikeout of Descalso. Let's take it back to one of those moments, September 26th of 2009. Adam Wainwright trying to close out a division. You see his emotions. The Cardinals clinch the NL Central here at Coors Field. Never get sick of doing that, do you?
No, I don't think so. As a player, anytime you have that opportunity to obviously play beyond when there's a lot of teams sitting at home. It's one of Jim Tracy's favorite sayings. I want to do what Tony La Russa has done. I want to play the last game of the year and get the last out of that game. I want to have that chance as a manager. That's what Jim Tracy talks about a lot, and he thinks this club might have a chance to do that.
Tony has eliminated Jim from postseason play when he was with the Dodgers. La Russa in St. Louis, 8 division titles, 2 pennants, and a world championship in 2006. Fly ball into shallow right. And it's time to stretch. Fox Saturday Baseball in prime time here in Denver. And by the makers of New Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. Well, this ballpark has seen some great moments over the years, and one of the most famous plays in Rockies history, 2007. He's now at the Cardinals. Matt Holliday with this slide.
Yeah, well, Jamie Carroll line drive to Giles and right to throw to the plate, and did he touch it? Well, guess what? Tim McClellan says yes. Matt Holliday sends this team to the playoffs. And, of course, the Rockies went on to get the opportunity to play in a World Series against the Boston Red Sox. And that man right there, Matt Holliday, a huge reason why that team was able to get where it was headed, and that is the postseason and then on to the World Series.
Trevor Miller is the new pitcher for St. Louis here in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals are down to Holliday on their bench, and we understand that Holliday may play tomorrow. See the numbers on the lefty Miller, 1 of 2 for the Cardinals in their bullpen. Has to hurry up here. Spins, throws, got him.
In a 12-1 game, you don't argue, but in a 1-1 tie, and it's the bottom of the 7th, you might have seen a little bit of argument from everyone. And Miller got off of the mound pretty quick and got there, and EY still barking a little bit, but I think this may have been a pretty good call by the rookie Vic Carapazza.
Got it right. Brings in Dexter Fowler. The Rockies got at Jaime Garcia early in this game. They lead at 12-1.
By the way, if Nicasio can go on and win this ball game, which it looks like he's going to, the last Rockies starting pitcher to win his major league debut was Chin-Wei Sao back July 25th, 2003 against the Milwaukee Brewers. And I'll remember it like it happened yesterday. Chin-Wei Sao struck out the first batter, Dan, and he asked for the baseball to be thrown out of the game like a first hit. And the third hitter of the ball game hit one in the seats, and they said, if you would like to have that one back, it's over the fence. The rookie got educated pretty quick.
That's hilarious. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now you've seen with the Rockies, no-hitter last year from Jimenez.
Yes, in Atlanta.
And then Hideo Nomo did it against the Rockies here.
Pre-Humidor.
That's amazing.
You better believe it's amazing.
There's a line shot, fair ball down into the corner. Fowler can really run on his way to second base. He'll wind up at third easily. Fowler with the triple.
Well, that ball rockets off the bat of Dexter Fowler, and he sees it into the corner, the gaps, and has an opportunity to stretch these into triples. He's going to be one of the first to tell you he's going for it. Dexter Fowler, line drive, right center, right down that right field line. And, you know, as it gets into that corner at Coors Field, the outfielder has to wait for it to run its course against the wall. In the meantime, Dexter Fowler just flies into third base.
Last night, the Cardinals with 19 hits. In this ball game, Colorado's come back with 14. George, we saw a lot of talk around Major League Baseball on an injury that could affect the Rockies and the National League West. And that's Buster Posey, who looks like he's going to miss the rest of the year with that crash at the plate.
Yeah.
And it's a situation now where he's had torn ligaments, fractured leg, and also last night Humberto Quintero sprained his ankle severely, the catcher for Houston. Another collision at the plate.
Well, you're not going to find a starting catcher this time of the year that's going to come in, I think, that's an impact. Now, one name that had been thrown out there, of course, had been Pudge Rodriguez from Washington, because they're stacked at the minor league level. Well, Nicasio obviously has done a great job, and Jose Morales, the backup catcher for the Rockies, will hit for Mr. Nicasio. Or excuse me, hitting third in the lineup behind Fowler.
Now, you've been around this game a long time. Does the rule need to change with what is happening?
No, I'm not in on that deal. I know Bruce Bochy was
wanting to see something to be examined, but obviously it's his 4-hole hitter and his starting catcher, National League Rookie of the Year. I understand his frustration with it, but as a former catcher, obviously he's gone through a lot of that.
Coors Field here in Denver. Glad you're with us. George Frazier, Dan McLaughlin. George, 10 years in the big leagues. Fox Saturday Baseball in primetime, and it's runners at the corners now for the Rockies. Alfredo Amezaga, first plate appearance in this ball game. Amezaga in the spot occupied by Tulowitzki.
Probably the first time in Alfredo's career that he's hit 4th in the lineup. Came in for Tulowitzki to play shortstop and said, hey, I'm not used to having all these guys out on the base paths in front of me. What's going on?
19 games he's appeared in this year, .242 average.
It's kind of turning into one of those spring training games, Dan, with all the switches and changes and guys in position. Let's see if he can play right. Go out to right.
Yeah,
see if he can do it.
The big guys are out right now.
Well, Helton's out, Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, Pujols. Berkman.
It's fouled out of play. It's turned into a cool evening here in Denver.
That's one thing about Denver, Colorado. Things come off the mountains. Strange things happen in April and May. You can get pretty chilly. It can get hot. Earlier in the year, we had an 89-degree temperature for a night game. The next day, came out to the ballpark and it was 41 degrees and stayed that way all day. These fans came prepared with the blankets.
Here's the 0-2 pitch by Trevor Miller. It's tapped foul and out of play.
How about that Rockies fan? He's pretty excited. You're not cold. Everybody had blankets hanging out. There's a young lady in a hoodie.
The 0-2 is a fly ball into right. Tyler Green over near the line and makes the catch. Runner will tag up from third to make it 13-1. Colorado. Tyler Green, for many fans that don't know, is a guy that was a highly touted prospect and an infielder coming out of college. And with Tony La Russa, as we've talked about, you never know where he might put you in a ball game. He has been playing a little outfield since spring training.
Strong arm, good speed, gave him a chance in right field. He replaced Berkman, and that ball down in the corner. And when you play at the big league level and you get in these newer ballparks, there's always some nooks and crannies you're not familiar with. You noticed when he went after that ball, he put the right hand up thinking the wall was being pretty near. Johnny Herrera, a soft fly ball to center field.
Rockies add to their lead. It's 13-1. much sums it up. It's been all Rockies here this afternoon. Debut and a chance for a win. Nicasio and the Rockies 13-1. Bob Apodaca has to be thrilled with what he's seen.
Well, you have to be. Strikes, the amount of strikes thrown, the amount of pitches thrown through 7 innings. 59 total strikes thrown. Put the ball in play over half of the time. I think that's one key. 17 of them were fouled off. 12 called strikes. So that's what excites you. And the Rockies hand the ball to Greg Reynolds, the #2 overall pick in 2006. The same year Tim Lincecum was picked by the San Francisco Giants. Evan Longoria picked by Tampa, and Reynolds has battled numerous arm injuries from elbow to shoulder to scapula in the back, and finally for the first time in about 4 years has been 100% healthy. When he first signed and went to Tulsa, it was 5-1. It was dominating the Texas League when the injury bug hit. Hard sinker. He'll run at 86 to 91, but heavy sink. You know, and that's the worst part about grading a fastball, Dan. People say, well, it's an average fastball, 88, 91. But the movement's not average. So that elevates the rating of the fastball. And it's not all about velocity. It's location and movement.
The 2-2 pitch to Cosmo. Get into a draft, you just don't know what you're going to get. You have to have a little bit of luck and hopefully good health. That misses on the outside corner. Bob Apodaca wearing a mic. We appreciate that. And here's his thoughts on his starter today.
Shake his hand. He's done.
Nice job.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah, that's a day you never want to have over as a pitcher or pitching coach. You needed a lift today. That youngster came out of Double-A and did a nice job. He gave Bob Apodaca some breathing room and some positive things to think about, because I'll guarantee you last night's outing by Ubaldo Jimenez was still weighing very heavily on Bob Apodaca. And last night, Ubaldo Jimenez, a young man that was 15-1 at the start of the first half of the year, has since gone 4-12 for the Rockies ball club, including 0-5 this year. And I know that after last night's outing of 6 innings, 12 hits, 6 runs, that's still weighing on how to fix Ubaldo Jimenez and his troubles as a starting pitcher for the Rockies.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. John Jay, 3-0. 13-1 game, and he's just walked a man and gone 3-0.
Yeah, he's the one guy. You know, I love it when a pitching coach would come to the mound and go, "What are you doing walking a guy?" And you go, "Do you think I'm trying?" I'm not trying to walk him. I want him to hit the baseball. And what even compounds it is where the state of this game today is, and that's a 13-1 ball game. There's a strike here. 6 hits, 1 run. It was not an earned run. A couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts. 31 balls thrown out of 88 pitches. And what's interesting about Nicasio's outing is that the minor league level, he was near the top in strikeouts. In the Texas League was 63 in all of baseball. Yet you come to the big leagues and the hitters change that a little bit, and obviously do. He struck out 10 hitters 4 different times at the Double-A level. But here they're going to be aggressive. They're going to swing at pitches, and John Jay gets a pitch off Reynolds on a 3-1 count and drives it right back at him, trying to throw that sinker down and away, and it was elevated.
Now does Nicasio, 5 days from now, is he back out on the mound?
Well, that's a great question, because you have Aaron Cook coming. It's going to come off. And Clayton Mortensen has just been outstanding for the Rockies. They came over to trade from the Oakland Athletics for Ethan Hollingsworth. And so, you know, it's tough to do that. I think he still has room to grow.
Well hit out to deep left center field. That ball will get down. It's off the wall, and it's a ground rule double. So Tyler Green swinging away on that first pitch. Drives in a run as Jay is bringing getting back to third. And then you have scoring Pete Kozma. So Green picks up the RBI to make it 13-2.
I got a ball out over the plate. Green smokes this fastball out of the reach of Eric Young Jr. Started at second, now in left field, and it bounced up into the seats. It saves you a run. But now with nobody out second and third, you got to go to work. Matt Belisle, who has worked for the Rockies in the 7th, 8th innings, is very, very good. A year ago threw 92 innings getting loose for the Rockies.
They don't want to bring him in a 13-2 game.
No, you want to save this bullpen, and that's what Reynolds is out there for. Reynolds came on in the ball game for De La Rosa the other day, 3 2/3 innings. Allowed 1 run in the ball game, pitched very effectively.
Strike to Alan Craig. Craig moved from right field to first base after taking over for Lance Berkman. Runners at second and third. And that's a base hit. 2 runs will score here. Craig delivers. Takes a wide turn around first base. And it's 13-4.
Well, the one thing about your Cardinal hitters, this is a ball club that will swing the bat. It may be 13-1, but they've made it 13-4, and there's a lot of pride there, but there's a lot of success coming with that. Craig, watching him swing the bat, a lot of movement, a lot of different positions to load the hands to have that chance and opportunity for success, and he had it against Reynolds. With nobody out, 3 runs on the board now. The Cardinals now have 9 hits and 4 runs. Jim Tracy remembers back when his Rocky ball club and came back in July, scored 9 runs in the 9th inning. I think it was 12 straight extra base hits to come back and win that ball game. He will not allow that to happen and come back to him.
So still nobody out. Here's Colby Rasmus, 13-4. Rockies on top. Colby today with a walk. He's flied out to center and also popped out to short. Here's a ground ball right side. Diving stop. Morales a fine play. Takes a hit away from Colby Rasmus.
Well, Morales had converted infield. It is the backup catcher for the Rockies. Played short and second. And this is the 2nd time this year that he's played second in a ball game. And quite honestly, 2nd time he's made a great play too. He came in on a ball in his first time and flipped it to first base to Todd Helton. Here he makes a nice job diving to get Rasmus and complete the play.
Schumacher 0 for 3, pair of ground outs. He's also flied out to left. 13-4 Rockies. Craig advanced to second on the play. Little chopper to short. Craig moves up to third, 2 outs. So tell me what that visit is like. Pitching coach comes out. You're ahead 13-1. You've walked a guy. You've given up some base hits, some runs.
What are you doing? Do you not know it's 13-1? And then you start talking about the walks. But a lot of times guys will come up and just say, let's get the ball down, get you some ground ball outs. Matt Holliday will pinch hit, the last regular player for Tony La Russa on his bench. And some fans here appreciate what he did. Some fans boo for why he left. But to me, Matt Holliday will always be a part of history of Colorado Rockies baseball.
Mixed reaction last night and again here tonight. You see what he's done in his career against his former team. 0-1 pitch, and Holliday hits it in the air out to center field. Again, we may see him in the starting lineup tomorrow. 13-4, Rockies on top. By DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And by Lipitor. Nightfall upon us here in Denver. It's 13-4 in favor of Colorado. Interesting move by Tony La Russa here. Brian Talent, the second lefty in his bullpen, who had to leave last night with a 3-2 count. The tightness in his left elbow is into the ballgame.
Surprising to me, because after leaving a ball game last night, you wouldn't anticipate this young man coming into a game today. But obviously, not as serious. Barry Weinberg fixed him up, patched him up, put a Band-Aid on it, and sent him out. Played catch before the game today. Said, hey, you know what? It's okay. I'm good to go.
That's exactly how it unfolded. He got to the ballpark and wisely took himself out of the game last night before it became a serious issue. Played catch, said he was good to go. Former starter, now working in the bullpen of the National League St. Louis Cardinals. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ty Wigginton. Base hit. Rockies about hit the Cardinals in the ballgame 15-9.
38,149 showed up at the yard to watch this ball game today.
Ryan Spilborghs will be the hitter. Rockies began play April 9th, 1993. You mentioned the 38,000. Well, that day in 93, 80,000 plus to watch baseball.
Yeah, 80,000 here. I know I played here in AAA in 77, 78, and they would draw 25 to 35,000 in Mile High to watch AAA baseball. So I think you felt that it would be successful here no matter what when they moved their big league ball club here.
Big day for Spilborghs. Balls behind, 0-2.
We mentioned the Rockies looking for Aaron Cook, the veteran, to come back into the rotation. Had one more start to make today. That was in Colorado Springs. He went 7 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, gave up a couple of home runs, did not walk a batter. But those results at Colorado Springs actually are pretty good. You're at about 2,000 feet above farther at sea level. There's no humidor, and the wind blows out to dead center. Great place to pitch.
Then how do you judge a guy as this one bounces to the plate? How do you judge a guy?
Very difficult. You try to go to Fresno a lot and Memphis to watch them versus watching what happens there.
1 ball and 2 strikes. That's pulled foul. First baseman is Alan Craig, playing behind the runner at first. It's Ty Wigginton. Big lead, 9 runs. Not holding him on. One-two pitch. This is in. On 2-2, a swing and a miss. We've talked a lot about Eric Young Jr. How about Eric Young Sr.? April 9th, 1993, the first Rockies home run off of Kent Bottenfield, who actually pitched in St. Louis. That was the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, again, and isn't it amazing here to see that crowd in that ballpark? That's Mile High, what Dan was talking about earlier. His dad now the first base coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's like an all-star coaching staff in Arizona with Alan Trammell as his bench coach. Charles Nagy's the pitching coach. Don Baylor's the hitting coach. And Matt Williams is at third base to go along with Eric Young Jr. or Sr. I should say at first base.
Chris Iannetta. Iannetta again out to deep left field. Track wall and a long home run. 15 runs today for the Colorado Rockies.
Last night's ball game evidently made some people mad.
Career high 6 RBIs for Iannetta. Pair of home runs in this game.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. First time in 3 years that he's been given the everyday job as a catcher. Well, it came up a little while back. Got a home run, comes up here, gets a slider coming in, and then against Garcia early in the ball game, they wanted the fastball away. It got in, sent it almost to the same exact spot to left field. And again, for Iannetta, mentioning that he's finally been given the job as the starting catcher here. And it's great to see the response. 7 home runs now, 22 RBIs on the season.
1 ball, 1 strike on Greg Reynolds. Going back to Mile High Stadium, 1993. 4.4 million fans came through the turnstiles. Think about that.
That's a whole bunch of people coming in to watch hardball. Career highs for Iannetta, a couple of home runs. That's a career high. 4 hits, career high, and 6 RBIs, a career high.
They averaged 57,000 that year.
By the way, all the stats that Dan and I've read today have been brought to you by the Cowboy. Tracy Ringlesby worked alongside of us with us here in Denver.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Reynolds is 1 for 3 this year, and a swing and a miss. From Eric Young, senior, now junior. I guess the question with him right now is, can they find him a position?
Well, that's a big question, because second base, obviously he plays a decent second base. But there's things in his game that, you get back into the back end of a ball game. It's like putting a closer in, or your 7th, 8th inning guy. Jim feels he has to have somebody like a Johnny Herrera to step in and play those last couple innings defensively, because EY plays hitter. He plays base stealer. I mean, those are his 2 biggest assets. He's a very good hitter and a very good base stealer. That's why going down to AAA and playing center field, playing left field, trying to expand what he can do well. And Jim Tracy said it. I do not want him to be Willie Mays. I just want him to catch the baseball when it's hit to him.
Sometimes easier said than done.
Well, in this ballpark,
and that's why
you get to San
up.
Francisco, where the wind blows, you never know where the ball's going to come there. You get at some bigger ballparks, yes, it can be difficult.
Schumacher stays with it, safe at first. Hard hit ball, knocked down by Schumacher, but couldn't come up with it.
Well, that's just what Jim Tracy's wanting, people to set the table. And today, when the Rockies scored 6 in the first inning, EY with a base hit, Fowler with a walk. EY beats this ball out to first base.
You see a very light rain here at the ballpark.
I don't know what it does in Missouri. Well, I do know because I grew up there, but that's not anything like light to me. It's just not howling. Oh, yeah, you can keep playing the game. Exactly. They thought this storm would probably hit around 5:30, so it's fortunate that it's 5 after 8 o'clock and you're still playing baseball.
2 outs, and here's a 1-0 pitch to Dexter Fowler. 2-0.
Last time the Cardinal Ball Club gave up 15 runs in a game, you had to go back all the way to 1994, July 16th.
2 balls and no strikes. That's pulled fair inside that third base line. Eric Young is digging for third. They're going to hold him up.
Realistically, a veteran move by Richie Dower, third base coach, with all that speed.
And Fowler with a triple. Now the double, run scored and a walk.
Well, it's adding now. You got a ball inside half and just hit it right inside the line down the third base corner, and then EY coast into third base.
17 hits for the Rockies. Jose Morales. First plate appearance, he walked. On the year, batting .231. Slowly hit towards third. And that sends us to the ninth. 15-4. Rockies. Youth Baseball plus enter to win one of 4 trips to the 2011 All-Star Game and the keys to a brand new Chevrolet. Obviously not a save situation here. 15-4 in favor of the Rockies, but Houston Street is on.
Well, he is on to try to right the ship, and he's had trouble keeping the ball in the ballpark. 7 home runs and 24 2/3 in comparison. Yolis Chassin has gone 67 starting the ball game. In the starting role for the Rockies, have given up 7. So it hasn't been what you wanted to be overall numbers, but 23 strikeouts, 4 walks, 14 of 16 save opportunities.
Here is Tony Cruz, and the rain is definitely picked up. They're swinging away.
Yeah, all you're trying to do is get this thing over with. It's 15-4 right now. No reason to carry this on any further.
Cruz with a base hit tonight. So Street in relief of Reynolds, who gave up 3 runs that were all earned. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out, nobody on.
Yeah, rain has really picked up.
And that's a base hit up the middle.
We used to call these guys mudders. Getting the rain and it's ground sticky. They come out, all of a sudden they start swinging the bats.
And the last thing on either side, you want to see have any kind of issues with injury or slipping. Certainly if you're Houston Street, he's dealt with injuries in the past.
And there's no question that that's the last thing you want to have happen. And a pitcher, where it happens is that landing foot. You get into that muddy area, and then all of a sudden your foot goes out from under you, and it's not so much a leg injury as that you run the gamble of hurting the arm. That's what happens to it, because you put it in an unusual position right at the last second of a delivery. Well, Lou Brock, one of my first teammates in St. Louis, came out and said, "Son, this is just to clear me up shower."
I'd listen to Lou.
I'm going to tell you what, you talk about being in awe. Walking in, and Butch Yachman, the longtime clubhouse man of the St. Louis Cardinals, said, "Your son, your locker's right over there." And I looked up and saw number 20, and I was like, man. And I walked up to Lou, and of course I'd been around him in spring training, and he said, "Look, you're in the big leagues now, and the last thing I want you to say to me is you remember me when you were 9, all right?" I said, "All right, Lou, I'll leave it alone."
Lou just had a statue dedicated to him just outside of St. Louis in St. Charles, Missouri. The famous pop-up slide Lou brought.
Very
strikeout for Straight. Now it's up to John Jay.
As a player to be there today, he got his 3,000th hit. It's a pretty neat celebration that day at Busch Stadium.
John Jay 2 for 4, a pair of singles, and they're on their feet here at Coors Field. Two balls, no strikes. For the Rockies, an outstanding day when you consider a rookie making his major league debut on the mound. Pitched very effectively. The bats came alive. Close to 20 hits. On the other side, a lost afternoon for St. Louis.
Yeah, it was a lost afternoon. It's just kind of double-edged sword. What you watched last night, it was all Cardinals who soundly beat the Rockies, and then today it's been a flip-flop of that. So the rubber match will be tomorrow.
Change of speeds that you've talked about with Houston Street.
Using that circle change and really pronates to the inside of the baseball to create an action like the sinker, but about 8 miles an hour less velocity to have something against the left-handers.
The 2-2 to John Jay. And a base hit into right field. Looked to be a changeup that was up.
Yeah, changeup. That's the one thing about that pitch. When you double up on it, a lot of times if you don't hit the perfect placement, you're going to get hurt with it. One thing about Tony La Russa's team with Mark McGuire as a hitting coach, they don't stop hitting, do they? They are swinging the bats and pouring down rain.
Tyler Green with a double and an RBI.
.29 hits, 19 runs. Did you expect that when the game started?
Feels like it's pre-humidor.
A little bit.
Tyler Green is 1 for 1 with that RBI double back in the 8th. His average at 233. Time called again. One ball, one strike. Concern at any point in time when you bring in your closer in a game like this is an extended inning, because you may have to bring him back out there tomorrow.
No question. And really for managers, it's 20 pitches. If you get to that 20 pitch mark and you're not out of an inning, you'll see them replaced a lot, even in a 15-4 ball game, because they do want them prepared for tomorrow. And it's a whole different mindset for a closer when it's an 11-run ball game than when it's a 1-run ball game. And this is where a lot of times they just don't do their job like they should, because they're just not, they don't have that adrenaline. That's why they're the guy that gets the toughest outs of a game, the last 3.
We've got a lefty that's been up and throwing in their bullpen. The Cardinals down to their final strike. 1-2 the count.
Matt Reynolds, that left hand.
1-2 pitch. Tapped foul.
Obviously, her husband forgot the umbrella, didn't read the forecast.
The 1-2 pitch to Green.
Yeah,
Swing. Did not go.
Well, they talk about closers closing out games, and then you have umpires that close out games. In other words, it's 15-4, Dan. 9 out of 10 times, if we're umpiring first, 10 out of 10 times, we've rung him up. So the young rookie, Vic Carapazza, says he didn't go. Trip 2's on the board.
2-2 pitch. Back to Street. This will do it. The Rockies take game 2. Iannetta, big day. And the offense comes alive for Colorado.
Yeah, Chris Iannetta, Juan Nicasio, the 2 big 1-2 punch for this Rockies team, and they needed it.
A lot of fun for George Frazier. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The final score from Denver, Colorado. On Fox Saturday Baseball in primetime. The Rockies roll 15-4. Nicasio picks up his first major league win. After the break, it's Chris Rose and Mitch Williams from our Fox Sports studio in Los Angeles.